Hi, and welcome back to Business Talk, brought to you by the Sharonville Chamber of Commerce. Once again, my name is Dave Sperry, local business owner, owns Speed Pro Imaging on East Kemper Road in Sharonville. Our next guest is, I think it might be kind of obvious to everybody, is a florist.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
that might come as a great shock, based on what we have on the table. Douglas Keys, and Douglas is the owner of Vern's Sharonville Florist on Reading Road, right in Sharonville.
Correct.
So, Douglas, we appreciate you coming in. We appreciate you bringing in these beautiful flowers, and you're going to tell us all we want to know about being a florist and the florist business, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, so how long have you been in the flower business?
Professionally, I've been in the business 33 years right out of college. But before that, I come from a family business where my brother started one up in Westchester, and I've been working there since the 7th grade.
So it's in your blood.
Lots of years.
You know.
Yes.
And I understand that Vern's is a family business.
Family business. I have a wife that works with me by the name of Sandy, my daughter Lauren, and I also have a son who, when he's not working at his other jobs, comes and helps also.
You know, so you grab onto him for Valentine's Day and a few
Absolutely.
of those other special events that
And
require
brothers and sisters who come by, and a lot of friends who are all drafted.
all hands on deck.
Correct.
So what kind of products and what kind of services do you typically provide?
We deal with a lot of fresh arrangements, flowers from around the world. Basically, if there's a plant that can be grown, a flower grown, if there's a water source, transportation, they can cut it, grow it, and ship it to us, and we can put things together. We're going to have the fresh cut arrangements, roses. A lot of those are grown locally. A lot of growers in the area, California, Canada. I also deal a lot with planters, dish gardens, live green tropical plants, blooming plants in season. Different ones will be available different times of the year. Silk arrangements. Got a couple of girls, myself, my brother, very good designers. From there, we can also dabble a little bit in fruit baskets, gourmet baskets, snack food baskets for people who like their cookies and such. Not everyone wants fruit. Then we can also do a little bit of things that are on the market, balloons, Afghans, a little bit in the way of some statuary, and we're even having a little bit of some porcelain dolls right now, and other things we can find that make a interest for the people who come in.
If there's a demand for it, you can figure out a way to put it in with some flowers.
Yes.
You know, where do you, I mean, this might be interesting, right? Where do you get your flowers from?
Locally, we have several wholesalers, which gives us the access of getting flowers 2 or 3 times a day from them. Things come in fresh from different parts of the country and the world. Each day kind of has its own different flavor. As an example, tropicals will come in on Wednesdays because they're usually picked fresh Monday, Tuesday, packaged, shipped. And from there, we can also get from the wholesalers. We have a lot of local growers, people who are, as a business, family farms and such, who will go around with what we call bucket trucks, and they will bring their flowers straight from their fields straight to the shop.
What kind of flowers are typically grown locally? Obviously, the tropicals aren't grown locally, or maybe they are. I don't know.
We have the roses. We can have some carnations. And then the local ones right now will be a lot of the garden flowers, zinnias, dahlias, hydrangeas. So there's a good supply of in the supply chain right now.
I mean, one of the biggest challenges of your business has to be managing inventory, because obviously flowers don't get better with age. I mean, there is no such thing as a vintage flower like vintage wine. So kind of explain to everybody just how you go about trying to be just in time.
Absolutely, because you have to have, when the flowers are coming in, you need to have a freshness to them. Just like having a salad, after a couple of days, if the lettuce goes bad, you can't make a good salad. So with the flowers, we have a very good opportunity of enough business that keeps moving them out. We can order daily. I have enough resources with the different wholesalers where I buy a good quantity of flowers and I can have things brought back out to me 2 or 3 times a day. So as business goes, if we run out of carnations in the morning, we can have a delivery made in the afternoon, get them processed, hydrated, and ready for resale.
And that's interesting because you say you just can't take it right from them. You got to hydrate it and explain to people what you mean by prepping them.
On a lot of the flowers, they are cut at just a little bit of a green state. So what that does, and with the processes that have come along through the years, is it allows them to be shipped where they don't get damaged. That's the main thing. Is how do you keep them cool? How fast can they get here? How are they packaged? How are they put together? So what happens is when they come in is some flowers are in different states of how much water they've absorbed. So there's a few chemicals we use, and we can put them into buckets of water, and a little bit of hot water, a little bit of medium water in the we refrigerate them overnight sometimes, and each flower kind of has its own little tendencies of what we have to do to make them stay fresh.
It's kind of interesting. I mean, there's a lot of science to it,
After 33 years of doing this, you learn a lot on how to keep the product, fresh, and then how to make sure it gets out to the
kind of like
customers in the best
shipping
state.
bananas green and then ripening them. It's kind of the same kind of theory.
Same thing, because if you get a lot of really old bananas, they're only good for banana bread.
Yep. So what is the interaction with what has the interaction with customers taught you about the flower business?
In the flower business, when I first started, of course, it's all about getting the work done, keeping the customer happy and such. But what I've noticed is as the years have gone by and growing older, and I have a lot of customers, a lot of friends, which is what they've become, and there's a very much of an emotional state for a flower shop. A lot of other businesses you'll have where you're going to buy paint to paint a house and such, but when flowers are bought, they're bought, I would have to say almost 90% of the time, on emotion. Being in love, the sadness of a sympathy in the family or a friend, and to try to get the flowers where it's going to be the right statement for the appropriate time.
A lot of challenge to that.
Yes. It's the hardest thing to teach to your employees when they first come in. A lot of times the employees will come in with preconceived notions, but that's the hardest thing to teach, is that aspect of it.
Now explain, it's Vern's Sharonville Forest. Who's Vern?
Vern was, the original owner was an Agnes Kransmeyer. She sold the business 40, 50 years ago to a Audrey Malloy, but Agnes's first husband's name was Vernon, and her daughter's name was Verna Ray, and she started the shop.
Well, cool. You must have a story or two you can share with us about the business.
Oh, definitely. There's been so many things through the years. You meet a lot of kids who come in for their corsages. They get married. So there's so many things, but the one that always comes to my mind is my first year of ownership, and I get a call on a Monday morning, and a elderly man's talking. He says, "I'd like to order a casket spray." And I'm, of course, new. I've been in the business since the 7th grade, but still, it's the first year, and you're learning a lot of the ways to talk to people. So I just say, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear about the sympathy." He says, "Oh no, she's not dead yet." And I go, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is she like in hospice or such?" He says, "No, in fact," you kind of hear a little creak of a chair. He says, "She's out in the kitchen fixing me breakfast right now." And I'm talking to him, I'm listening, and I'm befuddled until he starts to say, "Yeah, we had a little fight this weekend. We had our 50th anniversary, and I never bought her flowers." And she goes, "You never do this," and she professed to him that, to the fact that don't wait to buy me flowers until I'm dead. So he says, being the way I am, I'm calling you now, and he made arrangements for me. So I made a very nice casket spray of carnations and roses, and set up to deliver it up to his house at 5:30. So I pulled to his driveway and knocked on the door, and there he is sitting in his easy chair. You gotta remember, this is almost 30 years ago, and it's kind of like a situation where the lady's still in the kitchen and she's cooking with the little apron on and such. And I knock on the door and he's sitting in his chair smoking a pipe, reading the newspaper. And he says, come on in. So I walk into his little family room and I go, where would you like me to set this? He goes, well, why don't you take it out to the kitchen for me? So I walk on through the kitchen and his wife is cooking dinner. She's wiping her hands on her apron and she looks around the corner with the most befuddled look on her face. And I go, where would you like it in the kitchen, sir? He goes, well, why don't you just put it on the kitchen table? So I moved a few dishes. The missus is still looking at me, befuddled, not understanding what's going on. Why is a casket spray being delivered? So I'm walking out the door, and as I'm closing the screen door behind me, I hear from the paper being ruffled, and he goes, there, now when you die and you don't get no flowers, I don't want to hear no more complaining. Went back to his newspaper, I walked away, and it's still one of the best stories I've ever had.
Well, hopefully they made it to their 51st anniversary. I'm assuming they did.
Actually, he became a very good customer after that, and I saw him very regularly for birthdays and a few more anniversaries and for a lot of their children.
And no more casket sprays unless it was appropriate.
It was an appropriate lesson.
Yeah. Well, Douglas, tell me, if someone wants to order flowers from you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
On the phone, 563-1090. We do have our internet services, but with this being such an emotional business, when you are calling us, I would prefer to talk to you so we can get that perfection made for you.
Okay. The interaction is important.
Absolutely.
Well, Douglas, we appreciate you interacting with us tonight.
Thank you.
And we appreciate all of you tuning in to another business talk show brought to you by the Sharonville Chamber of Commerce, and we hope to see you again next month. Thank you. Here at Speed Pro Imaging, we do all forms of large format digital printing and also graphic design. This would include things like vehicle wraps, full color banners, trade show printing, and even custom cut decals and label prototype work. For more information, give us a call at 513-771-4776 or visit our website at www.speedprocincy.com.